Princess Serena, not Princess Serena, and today is my second month of the CCPP collab, celebrating collections, people, and pins. And this month, I have the exact opposite problem compared to last month, because this month's theme is underrated characters. And apparently, looking around at my collections here, I like to make pin collecting as hard as possible for myself and pick the smallest niches possible. So I decided to break it down into different categories, so not repeating all of the same underrated characters, but just like, for example, one Pixar character and a couple Disney Channel in different areas, because Disney Channel is my main collection. So that should tell you a lot about how niche my collections are. So without further ado, let's get into it. High School Musical has become its own sub-collection within my Disney Channel collection since it has its own board. So I think the most underrated High School Musical character is Taylor. I mean, she doesn't even have her own pin. She has to share it with Chad. Chad has his own pin. And she is amazing. She is so sassy and just knows what's up. She just like talks sense into everyone. I remember in the first movie when Gabriella was like, had all the butterflies, like, do you know about Troy Bolton? And she's like, do I? And then she went to the cheerleaders and was like, oh my god, is it Troy? Like the hottest guy ever? And they were like, yeah. And she was like, yeah. And then as soon as she walked away, she's just like calm again. And then goes to Gabriella like, does that tell you what you need to know, basically? Like, it was amazing. I love her. And then in the third one, which is appropriate because this is on prom night, Chad was like, oh, so prom, like, I'm thinking, you know, we get ready here, or like whatever he was saying. And then she's like, what do you mean we're not going to prom together? And he was like, what are you talking about? We're together. And she's like, well, you didn't ask me. He was literally like, okay, fine, I'll ask you, will you go to prom with me? And then she was like, no. And literally made him do it in like a grand way, making girls have standards everywhere. This pin is actually limited edition 300. Moving right along to Disney Junior and Playhouse Disney, the most underrated character is obviously JoJo from JoJo's Circus. Be honest, who watching this remembers that show? Let me know in the comments, because I vividly remember it like just as much as like the little Einsteins and the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Handy Manny and even Roly Poly Oly, which that is my fave, but this is the most underrated. I was shocked when I was going after all these pins how no one knew what this show was. Like part of my childhood. I'm like insulted. That's kind of the threshold of how underrated a character is. Like, is it so underrated that no one knows it to the point that you're like insulted and your childhood is like threatened? And I love this pin too. It has like a rubber element and I'm happy at least a pin exists of it. So I have a lot of Pixar pins from different movies, and I believe this is easily the most underrated character from one of the most underrated movies. Francis from A Bug's Life. It was literally squished between the success of Toy Story 1 and 2, so it's just like squished like a bug. Oh my gosh. Francis specifically, of the little recognition this movie does get, this character gets nothing. But out of like the side characters, Heimlich is like the favorite, and I do love him, he's hilarious, but he is funny in his own right. You think just because I'm a ladybug means that I'm a girl? Like his literal arc, it's amazing. He was all this like tough exterior and it was hilarious, and then like the kids start to love him and then they like, soften him up because he like hurts himself and he has to kind of be on bed rest and they help him, and it's so cute. Moving to fantasy pins now. So I have a Gravity Falls pin. I know this isn't a specific character, but it represents the show as a whole. Every single character is the most underrated character. This is the only show I can think of that I have no favorite character, no least favorite character. Just every single character is amazing in its own right. Grunkle Stan, iconic. I can't believe half the things that come out of his mouth was like allowed to be on Disney Channel, especially in 2012. Like, it makes me think this is an early 2000s show, but like it's not. I urge you to watch it if you haven't. It is only 40 20-minute episodes, 2 seasons. That is it. That is all. It is incredible. I could go on and on and on, but this is from the theme song actually. The theme song actually doesn't have words. It's an instrumental, which is interesting, and it really sets the mood because it's a mystery. So there is continuity in it, but like honestly, it is hilarious. Came from the mystery, stayed for the humor and the characters. I had to include a Nickelodeon pin because that was very much part of my childhood as well. So it's a non-Disney pin. Courage from Courage the Cowardly Dog. And despite his name being the Cowardly Dog, he was not cowardly. He has been inflicted so much pain and he just kept pushing through. I know he like hid and like screamed a lot, but like he was brave. Courage the Brave Dog. the sequel, you know? I feel like if they were ever to remake it, maybe they could like give him some justice. That says something. I'm saying the main character in the show is underrated because the whole show is underrated. I honestly don't know how this show is a thing. It's kind of like a horror kid show. Like, oh my God, like the tone is kind of really creepy. Of course I had to include a Once Upon a Time pin. And for me, it was a no-brainer who to pick, although it's not Regina because she definitely gets a lot of love within the show. I have honored her in this video by wearing the Evil Queen ring here, but I chose Ruby, aka Red, aka the werewolf, and I think she was so done dirty. They kind of just built her up to be this awesome, like a side main character, you know what I mean? Like not the main 6 or 7 characters, but kind of like reoccurring characters. Interesting, her storyline, like Little Red Riding Hood was the werewolf and like we didn't see it coming. Like at first we thought it was her boyfriend and it was interesting. And then her development with Snow, like their friendship and how much they learned from each other and supported each other. And then going into the second season, like they kind of just wrote her out of it a little bit and she wasn't really in it too much. And then all of a sudden she just wasn't in the show anymore. So I just think she had such potential to be like such a great add, even to the main cast. Like they could have promoted her to season regular like they did the Wicked Witch later on. You have the wolf outlining Ruby here, and on the back it says, "Everybody calls me Red." Even though I did a video about Tangled the series a couple weeks ago showing my collection, I had to show the most underrated character. If I had a pin of Shorty, I would show that. No one likes him. I thought his comedic timing is just hilarious. Like, I know everything else about the show is like very mature and like witty. He kind of just had that lighthearted, like dumb humor that like, I feel like it was nice. You know, it wasn't too overly saturated, but like I don't have a Shorty pin. So I have to show my fave Cassandra here. Even though like within the fandom, like lots of people love her, but like people like Varian more for the most part. And I'm like, why? Excuse you? He's not even in season 2. I like him. Like I like everyone in this show. There isn't a character I dislike. But unlike Gravity Falls, I have a very much a clear favorite. And she's underrated because like people still gush over like Raps and Eugene all the time, which like rightfully so. They're cute, you know, it's fine. But I think she is the clear star of the show. She doesn't get the appropriate recognition that she deserves, even though she gets some within an already underrated show. Seriously, if you haven't checked out my Tangled the series pin collection video, check it out and look at the comment section. Almost every single comment was saying, wow, never heard of this series, or I know very little of this series. I want to check it out now. They had no idea what it was about. Most of them didn't even know it existed. And Tangled the movie is pretty big, so that's like kind of concerning on Disney's marketing part. Like their Instagram literally stopped updating after like the first year of the show. Like please. But yeah, this pin is stunning. I feel like I did this pin dirty. I made this pin underrated within my collection because I didn't show me opening it, but look at her with the rocks, and the rocks glow and her hair glows, and just look how intense this pin is. That is how intense and how dark and mature this show goes. Here's an overview of my underrated character pins. I could have totally added so much more. That's it for my underrated character pins. I hope you enjoyed, and I'd love to know in the comments below who you think is the most underrated character in your collection, or just in Disney in general if you don't collect pins. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more pin-related content from me every Tuesday. And please check out all of the other amazing videos that are coming out today as well. They will all be linked in my description. I can't wait to watch them myself when they drop. And as always, take care of yourselves and have a magical day. Bye.